Hey guys, today we're beating Pokemon LeafGreen only using bug types. That's right, you know those little things you step on every day? Well, they're tired of it, and they're breaking out of their Kakuna to prove everybody wrong. Okay, that was terrible. On to the rules. I can only use bug-type Pokemon in battle. I can use other Pokemon for HMs, but obviously not in battle. And no items in battle, but held items are okay. Now, before we get started, I want to tell you guys about a few things I'm really excited about. First, memberships are now live. So if you're interested in gaining access to some really awesome perks, like members-only posts, custom Rat 2 emojis, and even getting a Pokemon named after you in future challenge runs, then click the link here on screen or down in the description for more information. It's a great way to support the channel, and I'd love for you to become a part of this community. And then one more thing real quick, we got merch! Yep, we sure do. So if you're looking for another way to support the channel, then hit one of those pop-ups on your screen or head over to the channel page. Every ounce of support will help me do bigger and better things with the channel, and none of it would be possible without you guys. So thank you so very much. But anyways, let's get this challenge started. We start off by choosing Bulbasaur as our starter. This way, our rival will eventually have a beastly Charizard that will most definitely eradicate all of my little bugs. Fantastic. We head north into Viridian Forest to catch our first bug type, Weedle. And since Bulbasaur isn't a bug, we abandon him and feel no guilt at all. Now we can go catch the other powerhouse bug type in Viridian Forest, Caterpie. And I gotta say, Brock should be scared, because it's definitely him that's scared and not me. I mean, I'm fine, completely fine. But of course, we're not battling Brock with a Caterpie and a Weedle. We evolve Weedle into Kakuna at level 7, and then Kakuna into Beedrill at level 10. And we do the same for Caterpie, evolving it into Metapod at level 7, and then Metapod into Butterfree at level 10. And now that we've got them evolved, I decide to test them out on our rival. Beedrill has no problem at all taking down Pidgey, and then Butterfree comes in and takes care of Charmander with a few confusions. Alright, I think we're looking pretty good for Brock, so let's go take him on. We start with Butterfree against his Geodude, and it only takes 2 confusions to knock it out. We didn't even take damage, so great start. We switch to Beedrill for Onix, and we do just a little bit of damage before getting squashed by a Rock Tomb. We bring Butterfree back in, and we get some lucky misses, and we're able to knock out Onix with a few confusions. I think that was just luck, guys, but we're gonna move on. We take out most of the trainers while heading east towards Mount Moon, and once we're in there, we're able to catch the next powerful addition to our team, Paris. I'm probably not saying that correctly, but oh well. We traverse the rest of the cave, training up our team as much as we can, and we pick up the Helix fossil before we make it out the other end. Now, we have a few things to do here in Cerulean, but I opt to take on our rival first, even though his newly evolved Pidgeotto is pretty scary. But let's see how this goes. We start out with Paris, and yeah, probably not the best choice. It goes down quick, so we bring out Butterfree. The strategy is put Pidgeotto asleep and hope that we can take it down with confusion. And after getting some luck keeping it asleep, we're able to do just that. And we're still above half health. We switch to Beedrill for Charmander, but we don't do much before fainting, so we're back to Butterfree. We use the same strat, and hey, it works again. Abra is a non-factor, only knowing Teleport. And last is Rattata, who falls to just 2 confusions. That was way too close for comfort, but I won't complain. Let's keep on going. We head up the bridge, taking down a bunch of trainers, including a couple hikers, and make our way over to meet Bill. And after catching him in his cosplay outfit, he trades us some cruise tickets for our silence. But now there's only one stop left in Cerulean, and that's Misty. So, let's go challenge her. We start with Paris against her Staryu. And even though we get confused, we get some lucky crits and take it down with Bullet Seed. Up next is Starmie, so we switch to Butterfree and hit it with a Poison Powder to try to play the long game. But Butterfree goes down, so we send out Beedrill and almost finish it off, but Misty heals, so eventually we get outmatched. It's all on Paris now, and it does not disappoint, getting a 4-hit Bullet Seed and knocking out Starmie. This was another battle that was way too close, but I'm just happy I won and that we can get out of Cerulean. But on our way out, we take down a Team Rocket Grunt who gives us Dig. And that's gonna be very helpful for the next gym. Once we arrive in Vermilion City, our first priority is to hop on the SS Anne and battle our rival. We start out with Butterfree against his Pidgeotto, and we're able to put it asleep before hammering away with Confusion and knocking it out. We switch to Beedrill for Charmeleon, but we don't even touch him before going down. We're back to Butterfree, and we stick to the good old sleep and confusion strat and end up getting a crit to knock it out. Next is Raticate, who goes down to a few confusions, and last is Kadabra, so we switch to Paris. All it takes is 2 Leech Lives, and down goes Kadabra. That one didn't feel quite as tough as before. These little bugs are obviously trying to make a point. We rub an old man's back to get cut, and now we can access the 3rd gym to take on Lieutenant Surge. We start with Beedrill against his Voltorb, and we nearly knock it out, but he heals, so we're the one who goes down. We bring in Butterfree to finish off Voltorb, but not without taking some damage in the process. Next is Pikachu, and we get a lucky crit and knock it out with just 1 confusion. Last is Raichu, so we try to put it to sleep, but we get outsped and knocked out. It's all up to Paris once again, and we just need to land a couple of digs. Raichu keeps spamming Double Team and hitting with Shockwave though, but somehow we're able to survive with just 5 HP and hit our 2nd dig to finish the battle. We definitely should have lost that battle, but Paris came in clutch. Before we make our way to Rock Tunnel, we go to the east of Vermilion to level up our team a bit on the trainers over there. And while we're doing that, our Paris evolves into Parasect. Now we can head through Rock Tunnel. And you'd think, since I have a bunch of bug types, that the hikers in here would give us some trouble, but that's not the case because Parasect makes light work out of them with Bullet Seed. But after a while, we make it out of the dark to Lavender Town. And the first thing we do is make a beeline, nice little bug pun there, a beeline for Celadon City to go challenge Erica. We start off with Butterfree against her Victory Bell, and Confusion is doing just under half health, so we're gonna have to wrestle with it a bit. But after some persistence, Victory Bell goes down. We switch to Beedrill for Tangela, and Twin Needle does good damage, so we're able to take it down in just 2 turns. Last is Vileplume, so we go for Aerial Ace, and although we get paralyzed, Beedrill resists her attacking moves, and we finish it off. That was definitely the easiest gym battle thus far. We have one more thing to do here in Celadon, and that's to head down beneath the game corner into the Team Rocket hideout. We're able to take down all of the grunts really easily, but then we're confronted by their leader, Giovanni. We lead with Parasect against his Onix, and Bullet Seed just makes easy work out of it. And then it's just more of the same with Rhyhorn, who goes down almost as fast as Onix. His last Pokemon, Kangaskhan, though, is much tougher, and it hits really hard. We're able to poison it with Beedrill before we go down, and then we bring out Butterfree, who's able to slowly finish it off. I don't know why, but Kangaskhan just decided to stop attacking us. But hey, that's okay with me. Before we head over to Lavender Town, I decide to go pick up some tea and use it to bribe the guards keeping us from entering Saffron City. Once we get in, we go find Mr. Psychic, who gives us the TM for, big surprise, Psychic. Now we can go to the Pokemon Tower, where our rival is waiting for us on the second floor. We start with Butterfree against his Pidgeotto, and we try the Sleep and Confusion strat. It doesn't work great, however we still knock it out. Next is Charmeleon, so we try the same thing, and I guess it works a little better, but Butterfree is barely hanging on. We switch to Beedrill for Execute, who's an easy one-shot from Twin Needle, and then our rival sends out Kadabra, who goes down the exact same way. Last is Gyarados, and we're able to poison it and do good damage before we go down, and now it's an easy cleanup for Butterfree. Looks like our rival is getting more troublesome, but he still can't handle my overpowered bugs, I mean, come on. We head up the tower, kick Team Rocket out, and then save Mr. Fuji, who gives us the Pokeflute for our trouble. Now we can head south from Lavender towards Fuchsia City. And along the way, we wake up a grumpy Snorlax, so we run away as fast as possible, of course. We beat down a bunch of trainers, gaining some much needed experience, and finally we arrive in Fuchsia. The first thing we do is head into the Safari Zone to get the Gold Teeth and Surf, but we actually have some Pokemon to catch for our team. First up is Venomoth, and it's a little rare, but not too bad. We end up catching it pretty quickly. The other Pokemon we need to catch is Pinsir. Now, I feel like most people who would do this challenge would play Fire Red so that they could catch a Scyther, and I don't blame them because Scyther is awesome. But I feel like Pinsir is often overlooked, so that's why I chose to play Leaf Green. But anyways, I finally run into a Pinsir and we're able to catch it. Before we battle Koga, I want to get Venomoth at least to level 36 so it learns Psybeam, since that'll obviously help. But once that's done, we can go take him on. And I normally give you guys a play-by-play, especially for important battles like this, but we just beat him so easily, and only using Butterfree and Psychic. I honestly thought we'd be facing more resistance by this point, but we're not. Let's make our way to Saffron. Our first stop is at the Fighting Dojo as per usual. It's always a good place to get some experience before taking on the more challenging battles in Saffron. Next, we tackle Silphco, and I have a feeling our rival is gonna be pretty tough, so I defeat each and every Team Rocket Grunt in the building. But alright, let's go battle our rival. We start off with Pinsir against his Pidgeot, and we use 2 Rock Tombs to knock it out, but we're hurt. Next is Charizard, and Pinsir is probably the only one who can take it out. We land a Rock Tomb, but it doesn't one-shot, so we go down. Luckily, Beedrill outspeeds and Charizard falls. Let's go. Execute comes out and we misclick and use Aerial Ace. Twin Needle would have one-shotted, but we take it down anyways. We switch to Parasect for Alakazam, and we get a lucky crit with Slash to one-shot it. Last is Gyarados, and Slash isn't doing much, so we put it to sleep and then slowly take down his health until we get a crit and finish it off. We're still handling our rival really well, and I'm starting to wonder if he'll ever be a problem. Next up is Giovanni, and we start off with Venomoth against his Nidorino. Psybeam does half health, so it only takes 2 to knock it out. We switch to Parasect for Rhyhorn, who goes down easily to a couple of Bullet Seeds, and now we can bring out Butterfree to take on Nidoqueen. Psychic is doing about a third of its health, so we're able to survive a couple Body Slams and finish it off with 3 Psychics. His last Pokemon is Kangaskhan, so we send out Pinsir because he knows Brick Break, and it only takes 2 of them and it goes down. Giovanni is normally the easiest of the 3 big battles here in Saffron, and it looks like it'll be that way again. Our last battle in Saffron is Sabrina, And we lead with Pinsir against her Kadabra, who has terrible defense and gets one-shotted by Strength. We send out our Venomoth against Sabrina's Venomoth, and we out-Venomoth her Venomoth, and it goes down. We switch back to Pinsir for Mr. Mime, and we nearly one-shot it, but Sabrina heals a few times, so we just spam Strength until it goes down. Last is Alakazam, so we send in Beedrill to use Twin Needle, and yeah, that's the battle. Okay, I'm sorry, Giovanni. At least you damaged my Pokemon. Sabrina didn't even hit us once. That's crazy. But now we can head to Cinnabar Island. And I gotta be honest, if any gym leader in this game was gonna give us problems, it would have to be Blaine, right? Well, first we need to go through the Pokemon Mansion to get the secret key, and now we can go find out. Blaine starts out with Growlithe, so we lead with Pinsir. Hyper Cutter keeps Intimidate from working, so one Rock Tomb easily takes it down. Next is Ponyta, and it goes down the exact same way. We switch to Parasect for Rapidash, but we get outsped and one-shotted. Now we bring out Butterfree, and we wrestle with it for a while, putting it to sleep and using Psychic until eventually it faints. Last is Arcanine, and Butterfree outspeeds and puts it to sleep, and we try to confuse it with Psybeam, but we end up going down to a Fire Blast. Next, we bring out Venomoth, and we're able to poison it before also getting knocked out by a Fire Blast. We bring out Beedrill, and big surprise, we get outsped and one-shotted. It's all up to Pinsir now. I think one Rock Tomb will do it, and yep, we actually beat Blaine with a team of underleveled bugs. I love it. 7 badges down, only 1 more to go. But first, we hop on a boat with Bill and head to the Sevi Islands. After that battle with Blaine, I think we deserve a little vacation. Plus, we can get a little bit of experience to prepare for our last gym battle. I think the Sevi Islands are really cool and fun, but you can only access 1, 2, and 3 islands until after you beat the Pokemon League. Islands 4 through 7 are awesome though, so let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see me play through the endgame as well in future videos. But alright, we finish up the side story and head back to Cinnabar. And now we can go to Viridian City to take on the 8th and final gym leader, Giovanni. We start out with Parasect against his first Rhyhorn, and we one-shot it with Giga Drain to start the battle. Giovanni decides he doesn't like either of his Rhyhorns, so he sends out his other one to get one-shotted as well. We switch to Venomoth for Nidoqueen, and 2 Psybeams almost knock it out, but we go down to a critical Earthquake instead. We send in Butterfree, who does a bit more damage with Psychic, and we take it down with 2 of them. Next is Nidoking, and Psychic does good damage, so it falls in just 2 turns. We switch to Parasect for Dugtrio, and it barely survives a Giga Drain, but Giovanni heals it, so we end up using Slash a couple of times to finish it off and earn our last gym badge. Giovanni really needs to step up his game. He had 3 chances in this run to put up a fight, but in the end, he just couldn't handle the swarm. Before we can head into Victory Road, we gotta take on our rival, and I say, bring it on. We start off with Venomoth against his Pidgeot, and we're able to put it to sleep for a while and spam Psybeam until we knock it out. We switch to Parasect for Alakazam, and we land a Slash and try to put it to sleep, but our rival switches to Rhyhorn, so we end up putting it to sleep instead, and ultimately one-shot it with Giga Drain. We send out Venomoth for Charizard, who's looking real scary, and we get knocked out quick. We send out Butterfree and barely survive a Wing Attack before putting it to sleep, and switching to Pinsir. Rock Slide leaves Charizard on like 1 HP, but it stays asleep, so we finish it off with Strength. Next is Execute, so we throw in Beedrill to one-shot it with Twin Needle, and then Alakazam decides to show itself again, so we take it down with a Twin Needle as well. Last up is Gyarados, and we're able to poison it and do pretty good damage before we go down. And now we can send in Parasect to finish the job. Our rival is definitely putting up a better fight now, and that's good because we need some drama in this video. But now we can head through Victory Road, and there's a bunch of tough trainers in here that should give us some good experience. But I really don't think we're gonna have much of a chance with our team under level 50. So we go around and train everybody up to around level 50, and here's the team. I think we can win, but we might have to use some of our rare candies for the later battles. But alright guys, let's take on the Pokemon League. First up is Lorelei, and we start out with Pinsir against her Dugong. We set up a Swords Dance and then one-shot it with Brick Break. We set up another Swords Dance on Cloyster, and after Protect finally fails, we one-shot it with Brick Break as well. Next is Slowbro, and we use Double Edge to take it down, and now it's time for Lapras, who follows suit and gets knocked out by a Brick Break. Last out is Jinx, and it sticks to the script, also getting one-shotted by Brick Break. I'd say we're off to a pretty good start. Next up is Bruno, and we lead with Parasect against his Onix, who we easily one-shot with Giga Drain. We switch to Beedrill for Hitmonchan, and we hit it with a critical Aerial Ace, but then get knocked out by a counter. We send out Butterfree and nearly take it down with 2 Psychics, but then we get smashed with a Rock Tomb and then finished off. Venomoth comes in and finally Hitmonchan goes down. Next is Machamp, and even though we get hit pretty hard, we're able to take it down in just a few turns. Out comes Hitmonlee, and we take it down to half health before we get finished off. We bring out Pinsir to knock it out with Brick Break, and then Bruno sends out his last Onix, who also goes down to a Brick Break. I can't lie, that was probably the toughest Bruno battle I've ever had. Third is Agatha, and we start with Butterfree against her Gengar. We get confused and it uses Double Team, but after a couple of Psychics it goes down. We switch to Pinsir for Golbat, and we almost one-shot it with Rock Slide, but we get confused and Agatha heals. We land 2 more Rock Slides to knock out Golbat. We switch to Parasect for Arbok, but we get one-shotted, so we bring out Butterfree, who gets a revenge one-shot with a critical Psychic. Next is Agatha's second Gengar, and we get some lucky misses, and although we get put to sleep and almost knocked out, we're able to finish it off. Last is Haunter, and we get a critical Psychic to knock it out. Agatha down, only 2 more battles left. Now, I battled Lance like 10 times and lost, so I decide to give Pinsir 5 rare candies to bring him up to level 58, and we try again. We start with Pinsir against his Gyarados, and we set up 2 Swords Dance and then use Rock Slide to take it down. Next is Aerodactyl, and we survive a Wing Attack and one-shot it with Brick Break. Now Dragonite comes out, and we go for Rock Slide, and let's go! We take it down, and his 2 Dragonairs are easy one-shots with Brick Break. We finally beat Lance. It looks like those 5 rare candies really paid off. But can we beat the champion? Let's find out. We start out with Butterfree against his Pidgeot, and we're able to put it to sleep and do some damage before we switch to Pinsir to finish it off. We bring in Parasect for Rhydon, and we almost take it out with Giga Drain, but our rival heals, so we use a few more Giga Drains to knock it out. We switch to Butterfree for Charizard, which is kind of a crazy statement, but we try to put it to sleep and get obliterated before we can. We go ahead and bring out Pinsir, and we actually outspeed and one-shot it with Rock Slide. I think we're gonna win. Next is Alakazam, and it's an easy one-shot with Double Edge. We switch to Beedrill for Exeggutor, and we use 2 Twin Needles to easily finish it off. And last is Gyarados, so we switch to Venomoth and hit it with a Toxic. We get knocked out though, so we send in Beedrill and hit an Aerial Ace, and then I decide to switch to Pinsir to take us home. I think he's gonna heal here. Oh, We beat the champion. That was, anticlimactic. But hey, let's get excited. We just beat Pokemon LeafGreen only using bug types. This was such a fun challenge, and I honestly thought it would be harder than it was. Pinsir really set itself apart and did a lot of the heavy lifting, so it deserves most of the credit. Thank you all for watching, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Leave a comment and let me know who your MVP of the run was, and don't forget to check out the channel memberships and merch if you're looking for a way to support the channel. But alright guys, until next time.